All right, guys, what's up? It's your girl Diva here. I'm in La La Land in LA with my man.
Damn,
This is what I do, baby. I'm here with Artemus Dolgin, and let me just tell you a little bit for those of you who don't know who Artemus is. First of all, bodybuilding was the start, but the thing that attracted me to him and attracted me to his brand is that bodybuilding is not the end. It's not even the now for him. He's just so past it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. He's evolved and he's found other ways to bring, I think, culture to the sport. I think he's found ways to, I know I'm talking about you, not your like you, but roll with me.
About me. Are you rapping right now?
Yeah, this is how
just dropping lines.
So, yo, this is how I do. I'm telling you.
I was like, shit.
I'm telling you, I just go, Artemis. You don't even know, dude. I just go. Okay. But the other thing that I love is that you talk about aesthetics. You talk about the golden era, and I think a lot of the young fitness people, bodybuilders, body enthusiasts, honestly don't even know what that is. Please, go.
I want to say thank you so much for doing this. Hello, everybody. My name is Artemus Dolgin. You can find me on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Artemus Dolgin. If you guys don't know me, you can kind of scoop into my life a little bit. I'm very thankful that you came out here and you found some kind of interest in me. I really appreciate that, and I'm very happy to do this interview and share my experiences in my life, you know, with the people that are out there and give them a little bit different perspective on the sport and fitness industry, the way I see it, you know.
Yeah. So let's talk about.
Fire away,
let's
baby.
talk
I'm
about
ready.
I want to talk about the golden era. I always say I'm an OG. Okay, so I've been around for a long time. Bodybuilding for me and that part of the industry started for me. I know pretty much, like actively no. I'm talking 80s. Everything before the 80s is pretty much, you know, what you would consider that breaking point. I say the game changed, and you can let me know if you agree with me. I would say the year of the mass monsters started with Dorian Yates. I would say that ushered in the mass monsters.
I think you know, Lee Haney kind of started the trend of being a bigger guy. He had like a bigger frame. And then into transition in Dorian Yates, and I don't really hate on Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates is a legend to me, and actually I'm learning a lot from his approach to the training, you know, high intensity, and something that he trained with Mike Menzner. I can't really hate on Dorian. He did his own thing, and I mean, bodybuilding evolved in a way, but the artistic part of it disappeared, you know, because they stopped rewarding it on stage, and it became like a mass contest, you know, and people wanted to see freaks, you know. The society is changing too. Society is not really getting smarter, you know what I mean? And like art requires intelligence, you know. You have to understand the symmetry, and you have to be able to relate to it when you see it on stage, and people relate more to, you know, the things that are easy to understand, and the size is very easy to understand.
I agree.
You know, and it's freakish. It looks very impressive, and you know, people say, wow, you know, but talking about mainstream fitness and mainstream world, people can't relate and don't take bodybuilding seriously at all.
And I think that's part of the reason. So then I see a guy like you, and I go, how did you decide? I mean, I've seen your competition pictures. What made you decide to say, you know what, I know, and you could get big. You could be as big as you wanted, but you made a decision. You said, I'm not going to get that big. I'm going to stick with what I know. I want to be aesthetically pleasing. I've heard you describe bodybuilding and aesthetics, and the thing I love, you talk about the symmetry, the flow of the lines, the detail in the body, working leg and parts, so you're not proportional, creating that illusion. And I feel like a lot of the younger guys don't understand that level of artistry.
Well, because they're not exposed to it. There was nothing prominent like that in the fitness industry. I wasn't planning on starting this brand. I wasn't planning on competing. I never thought of competitive bodybuilding as a career. I thought that I don't have what it takes. I don't have the genetics and all that. And I got introduced to, you know, the golden era of bodybuilding when I was 6 years old. My dad used to have a little gym, like a basement gym in Russia. And I used to watch, you know, big guys work out, like Russian gangsters and all that. I've been around, you know, D-ball and all that stuff since I was a kid. I saw that.
D-ball!
Yeah, and I saw Tom Platt's pictures on the wall, and Lee Haney actually, Arnold Franco, and I was fascinated. I couldn't really comprehend what I was looking at, especially I remember Tom Platt's there was a Joe Weider's like a fold-out training, how to train legs, and Tom Platz was demonstrating how to do squats. And I was 6 years old, man, and 24 years later, I was talking to Tom Platz in LA, in California, about starting his own line. So I kind of, maybe it meant to be in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Like I text you over everything
Yeah,
happens.
maybe it somehow set, you know, a certain path in my life, but bodybuilding was always there. I always trained, but you know, the standard of how the person should look, it got into my subconsciousness when I was looking at the pictures of Arnold. That's for me was bodybuilding. Yeah. That's how I looked at that bodybuilding through the periscope of Arnold, and you know, the standards of the old school when the bodybuilding was just at the very beginning of, you know, beginning stages of of developing. So that was a standard, always a standard for me. And when I start competing, I've been, you know, people start telling me, man, you look like an old school guy. You look like an old school guy. And when I wasn't rewarded for, you know, according to my placing at the competitions, I decided to stop competing because, man, I was broke. I got really broke, and I couldn't afford anything. So I started looking into the business aspect of fitness because I needed to make money. And I left my job. I left everything. I actually had a business in Chicago. I dropped everything, came here. So I was broke once again, and it's all started from there. It's all started from just following the path, you know, following my dream. I wanted to move to California, become an actor, have my own thing going. I didn't plan on having a clothing line. I didn't plan on getting in fashion, even though, like, see how this conversation flows into this.
That's cool, because I was going to ask you about that anyway. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep, please.
I never planned on doing fashion, even though I grew up in a very, you know, poor household, and I used to shop in secondhands. Like, we didn't have money for nice clothes, but my mom, she was an actress. She had a really decent taste, you know, in clothing. So she would take me to secondhand, say, go find yourself some jeans while she's looking for something for herself or, you know, for her dad. So I would go through this, you know, hundreds of jeans and T-shirts, and I was the very first guy in our village wearing bandana. And people were laughing at me because they couldn't understand what was going on, because in Russia, it's a completely different world. You know what I mean? It's very, very old school, and people thought I was gay. Once in my life, they thought that. Because I was just different.
You were different.
I was just different, and you know what? I never was afraid to express myself, and it wasn't something that I was forcing. It was just very natural. If I wanted to wear a bandana, I wore a bandana. I started wearing earrings when I was like 9. I took a little clip of you know, you hang your curtains on.
Yeah.
And it was a fake thing, but I just wanted to have an earring.
I love it.
You know, so it kind of all, you know, when I got to bodybuilding, I was so young, and when I got into this, you know, clothing and picking clothing for myself and creating a certain image, I got into it very, very early. After getting all these degrees and working all these jobs, I got back to where I started.
I love it. I want to talk about the clothes. So I love the clothes. Okay. Now this is you do have some things for women.
Let me tell you something. You guys are at the very beginning of something really special. This is like, this stuff is the beginning. I've been in business for like 1.5 years. I started this clothing line. I started with nothing. I started with a little tank top and a T-shirt, and there was 300 pieces. That was the very start, and then I just enjoyed creating. I enjoyed, you know, putting together the clothing, designing it, you know, trimming it, because I make everything in Los Angeles. Everything is custom made. I design every single piece. I create pattern, I create designs. I pick the colors. I pick the fabric, the prints, the packaging, the labeling. I'm involved in every single process, and I'm enjoying it.
But that's the artistry. Like, I feel like, because I have a couple of your pieces, and when I got it, I remember the one hoodie. Well, really? the assassin hoodie. My nephews took it. I just want you to know they love you. They took the hoodie. They said hi. All right, I said it, guys. You happy? They were like, FaceTime me when you get there. I was like, I ain't doing that. I got things to do. But the assassin hoodie, I love it. I love it.
I appreciate it.
The angle of the hoodie, the cut, the feel of the fabric. I'm a clothes person too. I like things. So
me too.
When I watched you, you know, I was like, you don't look like a sloppy guy at the gym. Like, there's something there. Like, if I saw you, I'm like, I want to talk to that guy. I want to see what he's into. Like, the fit, even right now, the fit of the clothes, the layer. You can tell I'm really into clothes. The layer of the fabric. I'm looking at the links, and I was telling him, I was like, yo, I was like, he has these sweats. I said, you know, and you know, a lot of fitness people design. First, let's be real, they don't design.
No, nothing designed.
Exactly. So that's the difference. So you're bringing this very artistic element to fitness and fashion. And I'm gonna be honest, nobody has done it. And if any of you fitness people are watching this right now, you're like, I did it. No, you don't. You screen print. You don't design.
Oh,
you're not doing fabric.
That's a great point. I was looking into it, but I'm a perfectionist, and I like everything to be perfect, you know, and especially when it goes down to clothing. If you buy, you know, a screen print, like a wholesale stuff, everybody has that. You know, 20 million other people who sell clothes have the same T-shirt or the same, you know, they just have a different label in a different fucking place and, you know, a different logo. That's all. And I couldn't really fall into that. Plus, I don't like the fabric that, you know, Chinese or South American companies use. It's a cheaper fabric. I like to use like 100% cottons, you know, and everything is organic. I have access to it here in LA, so I'm kind of, you know, taking advantage of these opportunities. But by no means it's not easy. It's a very complicated process. There's a lot of things involved, and I have to be like, it's as I said, I started from nothing. For me, just a learning process of understanding how to dye the fabric, how to pick the fabric, how to knit it, how long it takes. Just you know, I'm exploring now. Denim. I'm starting a denim company. Something is gonna go for that there. Right now, my mom is helping me out with my first like shoe, like it's a loafer shoe with the body.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's like I'm having everything that I make from the company. I put it back into business. I'm living a very good life. Like, I'm very comfortable, but with just minimal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I spend money on food. I eat well and I dress well, and I don't really party. I don't go on vacations. I spend money very wisely. I can
you're investing, but you're investing in your life, in the brand, what you want to build, and I think that's a testament to the level of discipline.
Yeah, that's why I was able to grow this fast, because my cash flow is so good, because I don't really spend much. You know what I mean? I cut my expenses everywhere I can, like personal expenses. You know, and I put everything back into business. That's why business was able. Actually, I grew pretty fast for a single person who started everything on his own. Like I grew. Plus, you know, I've done the Expo at Arnold, and now I've done Olympia Expo. It was the first year of the company, and we've already been at the very big expos. It was a big step for me. Plus, you know, getting involved with Tom Platz and Danny Padilla and Samir Bannout and Robbie Robinson, and talking to, you know, Bob Harris, it was pretty surreal too. It did give our brand a very, you know, big push.
Absolutely.
You know, people kind of related to it more and realized what my vision is and what I'm all about, because the brand without a vision, without a philosophy, it's like body without a soul. You know what I mean? And I feel like the soul of this brand is that art of old school bodybuilding. And now it expands on, you know, every aspect of life. I want to become a very positive, very encouraging, very empowering, very inspiring brand. You know, something that people can connect to.
I like that. So I know you were going through a bulking cycle.
Oh, we're talking about bodybuilding now. It's boring.
No, but this is what I want to get at, and this is more again for some of the more, I'll say, for the younger followers, and you've touched on it a million times. You talked about, you tell these guys, you say, when I went pro, I wasn't on gear. You say, and you've been off gear for about 4 months. I do.
Yeah. Oh, man, thank you.
Oh, no, I mean, I really do follow you. I admire what you do. And you've been off gear for 4 months. And I'm showing him a picture of you, and he's like, what the hell? I was like, no, he's the real deal. So let's touch on...
on gear. Okay.
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give a shit about gear. Because at the end of the day...
I get it.
The work.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the work. I don't give a shit about gear. I'm talking about the work.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in bodybuilding, both things are very important, you know, especially if you're talking about the competitive part of it. You know, my approach to it was always pretty firm. Like, if you don't compete, if you don't make a career of bodybuilding and you're genetically really gifted, you know, to go to the top, you shouldn't put your, you know, your health in jeopardy. You shouldn't, you know, put it at risk. It's not worth it. You can look great and be still, you know, pretty strong and ripped without using any substances. Usually people, when they're young, they get into it because they're very ambitious and they don't really think about the future. But I'm 32 years old, so I have friends that are older than me and they've been on stuff for many years, and they do experience side effects, and those side effects are pretty severe. They're like, you'll never go back to normal. Like, you will never go back to normal unless you're doing it in, you know, 22, and then you stop right away, and you have years, you know, to recover. But, you know, going on this stuff for years, because people usually, when they get on, they never get off, because they identify themselves with the image of a very strong, powerful, ripped, big, full, veiny dude. And when you get off, you kind of not fulfilling that image anymore. So you're gonna go back to it right away because you don't want to identify with the guy that you are at the moment where you are.
Yeah.
So people get hooked to it, and you know, younger kids now, they look on Instagram and they see all these fitness celebrities, they're all on steroids. Yeah, most of them are.
I know that, you know that, but they try to sell something else.
But they're selling something else, and this is the way industry is, and people accept that for some reason. I don't understand, why would you want to accept the fact that a motherfucker is lying to you?
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, people just don't mention that. Don't mention that. Like, everybody knows, but don't mention that. How fucked up is that? Really?
It is.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense, you know, and you see this big jack dudes, you know, with the bottles of protein. It just looks funny to me. You know what I mean? Like,
we're like, oh, that's what you took, huh?
yeah,
okay.
It's, you know, I don't blame the guy. You know, he can do whatever he wants, but that's just the reality. You know, and some people can see through that, and some people that don't know anything about it, the first thing they ask you at the gym is like, hey, so what protein do I take? You know what I mean? That's the very first question you get asked, like not how to train, how to eat right. So they're asking you about the supplement, because the supplement companies kind of, you know, created that stereotype, you know, of the sport, that this is what you need to get in shape, you know. And if you go to the websites like bodybuilding.com, you get a fucking directions to the GNC, you know, because like the whole diet thing is all about protein and supplements. You got to take casein protein and then protein bar, you know, and you have only 3 meals, you know, of chicken and rice and some eggs. That's the basic diet from bodybuilding.com. I don't think it's sufficient, because you know, when I didn't know how to do things, I used to go to bodybuilding.com and I would never have any fucking progress. You know what I mean? Because it's very mediocre training, and that training designed to sell you something. You know what I mean? When you start reading articles, they start fucking incorporating this research that nobody ever done or did, you know, and they're telling you, oh, this supplement increases that and this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's, bodybuilding is a tricky thing too. People don't understand. It's not truly a sport. It's not a real sport. You know, it is some way when you train at the gym. You know, it is a sport. But when you go on stage, there's no really scoring system, and there is.
It's true.
Yeah, like there's no.
It's true.
Like you can't. Like you leave everything in the hands of the judges. There is no way you cannot. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they're making a decision. You can't just go and knock somebody out.
And we know how politics goes
so like
as well.
people have to understand, you know, why they're doing it, why they're fucking injecting that needle, or why they're going into the competition. Like they have to, you know, sit down and understand, like, hey man, your time is going away, and you know, chasing a 21-inch arm is not gonna really take you anywhere in life. It's not gonna create value for other people. You know what I mean? Like when I see the guys in their 40s, they still try to fucking go to Olympia, and like they've been doing it all their life, and they try to compensate, you know, the absence of genetics with juice. And it's pathetic. And majority of the people, who make the fitness industry, unfortunately, are like that. They're not very open-minded. You know what I mean? And they judge everything through and look at life through the perspective of bodybuilding. But when bodybuilding is over, your whole identity is over too.
It's true.
You know,
and I've seen it. I've been around the sport a long time.
You can see like those guys, like they're hating all the time. They're not happy, you know. And I got to meet, you know, a lot of old, you know, bodybuilders and stuff. And unfortunately, life was over when the stage was over, when the spotlights, you know, turned off. Their whole life turned off, and it's just, you know, it's sad to see. And I'm 32 years old, and I've been in, you know, bodybuilding and fitness industry for, you know, 3 years, and I was able to, you know, catch up with understanding what bodybuilding industry is and what fitness industry is, and you know, how to make money out of it, how to create a career. I kind of got it very fast, you know, and realized certain things at a certain point. And you know, some people, they decide to hang in it and keep competing, and you know, try to fucking kiss ass to the judges and all that. They're refusing to, you know, voice their opinion about poor judgment, you know, about politics. I've never been this way, and those people are mediocre. There's only, you know, single guys and girls that make decent money because they compete, you know, because
I agree.
You know, IFBB is supporting them, and you know, there is a promotional, you know, team or a company, you know, Jim Bennion.
Well, you know, whoever's back in the Olympia, that's the athlete that's going to get pushed to the top. So what inspires you? Where do you get inspiration for the clothes?
Everywhere. I can, you know, I was at the opera and I saw one of the costumes. It was funny, but then I saw a sticker on the wall, you know. I was watching a documentary about these Russian prisoners, and I saw like a really cool print on the wall. Like, it comes from everywhere. Like, if you're a creative person, your eyes, you kind of catch, certain things, that other people don't notice. You know what I mean? And this is my favorite. This is my favorite thing to do when I'm working on creating a new pattern, or a new jogger or a new shirt. I'm also creating your favorite piece of clothing. That's how I look at it. I'm creating your favorite shirt. I'm creating your favorite pair of joggers or shorts, or a tank top. That's what I'm going for. When I make that piece, I want it to be your favorite piece in your wardrobe. You can have your own laundry, and you're like, man, shit, I'm just gonna go grab that shirt.
Wash it again. I do that with my joggers.
I might not I have a basket of laundry, but I like that tank top. It's dirty, but I'm still gonna wear it one more time. You know what I mean? Because I didn't do my laundry yesterday. I don't want to put anything else because I love that thing so much. It makes me look good. It makes me muscle pop. It's a great color. You know what I mean? Gives me a certain feel about myself, and I think this is where it all comes from.
Let's talk about the camp you got coming up.
Oh.
See, let me tell you something. When I show up to talk to somebody, they're looking at me like, you really, yes.
I like that. I like that.
I follow people who, there are things about them that I'm like, wow, he's on his game. And so let's talk about this camp because, again, this is one of those things. I'm like, he just created another opportunity for people to meet these legends.
Yeah. You know what? I've been hearing people say crazy stuff, saying that I'm using legends to make money. Yeah, that I'm leeching off of them. It's so and people who are very big in the fitness industry, it's funny, but this, they kind of, when you talk to Danny or you talk to any of those guys, you kind of feel that they've been left out, that their contribution to the sport has been, forgotten. Nobody really cares, about them anymore, and that's what's wrong with bodybuilding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is only, very small amount of individuals, that stand out in the whole bodybuilding history. You can count them on one hand. It's definitely Arnold. I think Luferino, because they went further than bodybuilding.
They did.
And,
I would say
that's why I remembered. If Arnold didn't win, didn't become an actor and then governor, he would never become this type of a legend.
I agree.
We would never talk about it because Lee Haney won Olympia 8 times and he's the least talked about. Mr. Olympia ever, even though he's an amazing guy. But those people are gone. And their legacy is kind of dying out, and that's something that I grew up with, and I was able to put it together and get in touch with them and hear their bitterness and see where they are in life, and I was able to I kind of was inspired by Roots of Fight, what they did with Muhammad Ali, the fighting now, and then they're doing with baseball and basketball, the football legends, which is pretty awesome. I feel like those people do deserve the admiration, and people get in touch and connect to their legacy through buying a T-shirt or a tank top, and it's motivating, and it's really great to see that there's people appreciate it. So I kind of was able to create a certain trend out of bodybuilding. Out of old school bodybuilding.
I love it.
And it became a trend. And people say, "Oh, you fucking did douche." I don't give a fuck. I was doing what I was doing because it's something that I enjoyed, and plus I saw the opportunity. I created that opportunity. And I kind of created a demand, on this old school physique, and then classic physique popped out. I'm not saying that I was the major reason why it happened, but I did really contribute to it because I did Frank Zane interview and Samir Badnoud and Danny Padilla and Rick Drazen. That's all I was talking about. That's all I was posting, and then the very first pictures of vacuum. I made it really out there. You can just hashtag vacuum and see how many people are doing it now. And before that, it was weird, and the black and white photos and old school posing, it just wasn't there. And I made a business out of it, absolutely, because I put in a lot of work, I put a lot of effort, a lot of creative ideas, and I feel like your labor should be rewarded. That's what business is all about. Plus, I'm enjoying doing this thing, and I kind of never hold myself back from doing things that excite me because those things turn out not to be random. They were somehow connected to my future. And if I didn't do bodybuilding, I wouldn't be doing fashion. And I want to direct movies. I want to be an actor and that.
I can see that happening.
So that's another venture. But without this, there would be a next thing. So my advice to you guys, go after things that excite you. Yeah. They will take you to the place where you need to be.
So let's close out on this. Let's talk. You mentioned legacy. I was at the Arnold hanging out, and we were doing interviews and stuff. And I did this whole speech about legacy in front of the Arnold statue. And it's, I don't know, it's just, the Arnold, that statue for some reason just, even when I stand next to it, I'm looking, I'm like, God, Arnold was the man.
It's daddy.
Like, Arnold's the man. You know, I felt so inspired. Like, we were shooting, I was tired, and he's like, you got to do this. And then I was like, all right. And I just started speaking. But, so, what do you believe is going to be your legacy when this is all said and done? What is it? What is Artemis? What are you going to be known for when this is done? What is your legacy? What is your contribution to?
For the kid, you know, for some kid from, you know, from the hood to go to school, you know, and for someone that, you know, feels down to feel up, you know, someone's going to be able to achieve, you know, his goal or his dream because the content that I created, you know, the message that I put out there was very impactful. That's my legacy. And that person that, you know, just goes through life positively, you know, and confidently. That's what I think it's all about. You know, it's all about people. It's not really how many trophies you won. You know, it's not really how much money you made. It's just the number of lives that you were able to touch and transform into better. I think that's what defines you as a successful human being.
I agree. I say all the time, if you're not giving back in this life, you're wasting it. You got to give back. Guys, again, the amazing and truly aesthetic Artemus Dolgin. Make sure you follow him. And I'm your girl, Diva Richards Fit. This is HWNE TV. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know who you want to see, who you want me to talk to. But this is going to be hard to top. I'm just telling you right now. Look, here you go. Here you go. Here you go.
Come on, you should drop some beats out.
He keeps saying I'm rapping, yo. You are so crazy. Artemis, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right,